Hi everyone, welcome back. Heather here. Thanks for joining me today. Today I want to talk a little bit about ketosis and leaky gut. So if you're someone who is just exploring nutritional ketosis, that's awesome and way to go. It's a big step along one's healing journey, and there's several ways to approach nutritional ketosis and attaining that. But one thing to keep in mind is that diet diversity. Because if you're not getting diet diversity in, then when it comes to your gut microbiome, some of those beneficial bacterial strains will simply die off if you're not eating the foods that help to feed those strains. So I'll get into that in a future video all about probiotics, because every single food or drink you put into your mouth is a probiotic in a sense, and it's going to feed your gut microbiome in some way. And some of those bacteria need certain kind of foods, and others need a different set of foods, and so there's this real diet diversity when it comes to ketogenic eating is super important to maintain your gut microbiome and the health of it and the diversity of it. Because when it comes to your gut microbiome, and that just means simply what kind of bugs, good, bad, neutral, are residing in your gut. And so when it comes to your gut microbiome and cancer, for example, you need to have a robust set and diverse set of beneficial bacteria for your immune system to be able to thrive. So often I've seen people get really almost boxed in about their ketogenic diet when it comes to strict keto for a lifestyle or for approaching things like cancer or things like weight loss and these sort of things, and they can get boxed in, and what that does is it actually depletes the immune system over time, because some of those beneficial bacteria simply aren't getting the foods that they need to stay alive. And if they're not being fed, just like a plant in your house, if you're not giving it water and sunlight and these sort of things every day, then they'll eventually die off. And this is exactly what happens to the gut microbiome when we get into a strict diet or a rigid diet, even the strict ketogenic diet. All of those foods are only going to feed certain bacteria in your body and will create a disharmony or dysbiosis, meaning an imbalance in your gut and with other bacteria. So keep that in mind when you're exploring your therapeutic keto diets, and if you need help with that, reach out to me and I can give you a hand with that. So some of the people that I work with have trouble, or they just struggle with getting into nutritional ketosis. So what does that mean? Just briefly, you're burning fats as fuel on a very basic level versus burning glucose or sugar as fuel. And this has so many benefits. You can Google them and look at research papers on them, but it's anti-inflammatory to burn fats as fuel, super great for the brain and the mental health and overall well-being and the hormones. It's really great at helping to reduce free radical load. So there's countless benefits of being in nutritional ketosis to some extent. So but some of the people who come to me, they struggle with getting into that nutritional ketosis, and they struggle with maintaining it. And so one of the first places I look, if we want to look at a root level, one is what are they eating, and two, what's in your gut. So because depending on the bacteria that's in your gut, it's going to really determine if you're able to get into nutritional ketosis and maintain it. So people who have been on that strict ketogenic diet for a long time, trying to maintain or reach a certain health goal or wellness goal, oftentimes this causes the body to actually not be able to hold and maintain or even get into nutritional ketosis if it's practiced for a long duration of time. So many months to years, some people are doing this, and this can impact your ability to get into and maintain nutritional ketosis, because you are depleting many of the beneficial gut microbes. That's just simply how it goes, because you're not feeding them, just like that plant not getting water or sunlight. So one of the first places to look, if this is you, if you're having issues getting into nutritional ketosis, we want to see what's in your gut. And we can do that with my DNA, stool testing, you know, the GI map test. This is all things that I do when I work with people to really get a close-up and a snapshot of what's in your gut, what's living in there, and how can we bring that back into balance. Because if those beneficial bacteria are out of balance, your ability to get into and maintain ketosis will be really compromised. And this is because many of your beneficial bacteria in your gut produce what's called metabolites. They produce metabolites for a whole bunch of things, making enzymes, detoxing, making B vitamins, making CoQ10, and they also produce what's called short chain fatty acids. And maybe some of you have heard of some of these short chain fatty acids such as butyrate, which butyrate can be converted into a ketone. So if you don't have enough and the right kind and the balance of beneficial bacteria in your gut, you're not going to be able to produce those short chain fatty acids, which allow you to produce certain types of ketones. So that is one thing to really keep in mind. By healing your gut, you can really improve your chances of getting into ketosis and maintaining it. And that's something that's not talked about at all today yet. So keep this in mind. If you tried so many different things and nothing's working, it's likely that we really need to take a closer look at what's going on in your gut microbiome, so you can bring that back into balance and work more towards getting into that nutritional ketosis. It should be super easy. Once your gut is in place and you're doing a keto-friendly diet, getting into that nutritional ketosis should be a pretty simple process. And once your gut microbiome is in balance, you'll be able to hold that nutritional ketosis and that for longer periods of time as well. So these short chain fatty acids have so many impacts on the body, not just allowing you or helping you get into that nutritional ketosis, but they also act as this permeability layer in the intestine. So you may have heard of leaky gut. Leaky gut, one way that this happens, it's the only way that's talked about so far, but there's other ways of that cause leaky gut, but the most common way that we're told and talked about today about leaky gut is that your small intestine forms what's called tight junctions between the cells. So the cells are really close together. One way that leaky gut happens is when those tight junction proteins they're not working well, they're not tight anymore, space opens and then proteins and food particles can float through, and this is what leaky gut is, and that causes an immune response. Well, those short chain fatty acids are super important to maintaining those tight junctions and thereby preventing leaky gut. So one of my common strategies and approaches to leaky gut is helping your gut bacteria produce more of these short chain fatty acids so that intestinal permeability is nice and intact, which will improve your immune system, energy levels. It'll decrease things like any skin conditions and those sort of things. It'll help you improve sleep. So this is really huge when it comes to approaching leaky gut and the cause behind why those tight junctions aren't so tight anymore. And that's a really huge thing to look at. So when it comes to ketosis, one, you want to be able to have that diet diversity so that you're feeding all of the bugs in your gut, all the beneficial bugs. Two, you want to make sure that your gut is healed. Okay, so if your gut bacteria levels are low or out of balance, if there's pathogens in there or AKA bad bacteria, you really want to take a look at those. And we do that with the GI map stool test with those in the States and Canada, and we do it with the bioscreen with those overseas. And these tests do a really awesome job at looking at what's in the gut so you can help to rectify any imbalances. So when we work together, that's a big key, and part of it is that we'll take a really close look at those things. So you have a better chance of getting into nutritional ketosis because, we'll be able to heal your gut, patch the leaks, and you'll be able to produce those short chain fatty acids. So, and thereby you'll be able to absorb and assimilate your foods better, which is not addressed on a ketogenic diet. On a ketogenic diet, we're just taught, eat these foods and stay in ketosis, and it's a very boxed in perspective. And I know that can be super helpful and important for short-term things and short-term health goals. But when it comes to long-term health goals and approaches, that boxed in approach just isn't super healthy, because we're not looking at things like, how are you absorbing and assimilating your foods? What's the permeability of your intestinal wall like? We're not looking at these things. What's the ratio of good bacteria in your body? What's the ratio of bad bacteria in your body? These are so huge to look at because, there's so many of those trillions of microbes in your gut. And so they really instruct our DNA and our entire body as to how to function and what to do. So having these things in balance can be so super important to just your health, your overall health in general. If you have any questions, feel free to post below, or you can visit me at Ancestral Digestion to learn more about the stool testing. Check out the blog with articles about gut healing, and you can learn about the diverse array of probiotics that I offer and recommend to people as well. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.